our coverage of the landmark case decided by the Supreme Court today, allowing all same-sex couples in the United States to marry wherever they live. Hi, everyone. I'm Vladimir Duthiers.
And I am David Begnaud. It is a historic day in the United States of America. Joining us now live from the Supreme Court is Bourke and Michael DeLeon. They were plaintiffs in the Kentucky same-sex marriage case. Gentlemen, you were inside the courtroom. First, would you tell me, what was it like emotionally when you heard the decision?
You know, we were holding hands throughout the decision, and we were very tense, obviously, but as we waited for the decision to be rendered, our grips just got tighter and tighter and tighter. So there was a lot of tension, and it built to that point when the decision was announced, and of course, we were elated with the vote.
Michael, how did you feel?
It was surreal, especially since they didn't waste any time. Justice Kennedy just started reading, and I'm sitting there and I said, "Hey, he's talking about our case." And
you didn't think it was going to come down today?
Well, I had an inkling, but I didn't know if it would be the first or the second. Greg had a dream on Monday that it would be today, so he was convinced, and I was kind of on the fence. I was 50-50 for today or Monday.
Honestly, I had a dream on Monday night that it was going to happen on Friday, because we originally had planned not to come until Sunday to be here for a Monday ruling, but I had the dream. And we just had this thought,
look at you now.
So we had to get here, and boy, we're glad we did.
Gentlemen, I don't know if you've heard, but the Associated Press is reporting that Kentucky's governor is now ordering clerks across your state to begin issuing marriage licenses.
That's awesome. We are so happy to hear that. We know many Kentuckians have been waiting decades. Same-sex couples have been waiting for so long, like two of our plaintiff couples, and we're just thrilled that that's happening. You know, you never know in a state like Kentucky, and in a case like this, when the governor or someone else is going to get involved and try to be obstructionist. So we're thrilled that marriage equality is moving forward in Kentucky. That's what this is all about.
Can you set the scene for us inside the courtroom as the decision came down? What was it like? We heard people were crying, some people were jumping in jubilation.
I saw quite a few people crying because I wanted to capture emotions of others around me, and there was definitely a lot of tears and wiping of eyes and lots of smiles with tears. So it was joyful.
Yeah, I would just clarify that there was nobody jumping and clapping, because they wouldn't allow that. We had to caution our kids before we went in. It's like, whatever you do, stay calm, be quiet, and so we had to do the same ourselves, and it was not easy.
You took up this fight back in 2004 when you were married in Canada, came back to Kentucky, and decided to take this fight up. What's it been like for your children, and do they understand exactly what has happened today?
Very much so. They are. Our daughter is 16 and our son is 17, and we actually filed the suit almost 2 years ago because it was a month after the Windsor, so it was July of 2013. And when we did that, we sat down with them and said, hey, we're going to we would like the family to agree for us to enter this marriage fight here in Kentucky. And they were a little surprised because they knew we were married, and they kind of missed the fact that Kentucky did not recognize our marriage, or even the United States.
Yeah, I would point out also that our children are plaintiffs also in this case. And our primary desire in getting involved in this case was our children's interest. In Kentucky, we've been so far prohibited from being both listed on their birth certificate, so we can't have a second parent adoption in Kentucky because they wouldn't recognize our marriage. So now that they recognize our marriage, I'll finally get to adopt the two children that I've been raising for the last 16 years.
Congratulations on that. Gentlemen, I want to ask you, what would you say to the people around the country who are watching you right now, who say when it comes to health care and adoption, that's one thing, but for the people who would ask, why is it so significant that you two be allowed to call yourselves husbands or spouses?
I'd like to tell them, our love has transcended, 3 decades. We're 33 years since we met. We've been a couple, a loving couple. We're also Christians. We're Catholic, and we're not that much different than any other couple. We're just two men instead of a man and a woman.
And when you think about the coming election in 2016, and you see that there will clearly be some candidates who will be against the Supreme Court decision today, how does that color your political leanings?
I don't know that it changes our political leaning because, you know, I think the candidates who are going to come out and take those views are not people that we would have endorsed in the first place. I think the tide has turned, the sea has changed, and I really think we're going to see almost everybody getting on board with this politically. And not just because it's the politically correct thing to do, but because it's the right thing to do, and because our Constitution commands that we accept same-sex marriage.
Greg,
you know,
if that in fact happens, Michael, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but if that in fact happens, that it is sort of accepted politically, the church that you both belong to, the Catholic Church, does not recognize gay marriage. They will not do gay weddings. Recently, they have said, of course, priests can be gay so long as they are celibate. I wonder, have the two of you left the church because of the church's belief for what you believe in your heart?
Absolutely not. We belong to the same church, the exact same parish for 28 years. We've been active members of our parish, involved in many ministries at our church. Our children went to the parish school, and our children still attend Catholic school in Louisville. We are devout Catholics. You know, when you come from Kentucky, and especially from Louisville, you know, that's part of the culture. That's the way we were raised, and that's the way we've raised our children. So it's been difficult at times to reconcile a lot of that with the Catholic Church, but in our particular parish and where we are, we're welcome, we're accepted, and we're included.
You know, at the same time, you know, we're not asking for the church to recognize our marriage. This was, you know, this was a civil fight for us. But you know, you said in your heart, and that's where our faith is. Our faith is in our heart. So you know, the Pope and you know other religious leaders, you know, they have certain opinions, but in our heart, we love Jesus, and you know, we know that He does not have a problem with us because He made us.
What a wonderful way to cap such a struggle. What are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do after you leave Washington?
Well, there'll be some folks back in Kentucky waiting to see us. Our fellow plaintiffs who could not make the trip today, unfortunately. Our legal team back in Kentucky, we want to get together with all of them and share hugs and embraces. And there are a few events that are planned in Kentucky. For example, on Tuesday night at a local establishment, there is going to be kind of a mass marriage of people who want to, same-sex couples who want to get married. So we were told that any of the plaintiffs that show up get to drink free all night. So it's like, man, I'm there.
That's great. Yeah, right.
You mentioned holding hands in the courtroom. Are you holding hands now?
Yes, we are. Sure.
I thought that was. Gentlemen, may you hold hands for a long time. Congratulations to you, and thank you for joining us. Greg Bourke and Michael DeLeon. Thank you. We are going to take a quick break and be back. You are watching CBSN.